Hi, I'm Packbat.
I'm Genjift,
And I'm Jester.
and what we're doing is we're looking at the cars submitted for the BRC 1955 Automation Contest, and this is part two of what will probably be three parts.
Probably.
We're going to be working with these top four cars today: Perlix, Rob, Genjift, and Lorded. Unless my computer decides to spontaneously change the order at some point, which it's done on at least 5 occasions. So, that's the plan. If it changes the order, whatever ones end up on top, then there we go.
Yep, indeed.
So let's load Perlix. I'm going to probably mispronounce these names half the time.
I think I'm looking. It looks like a custom badge on this one, so you might get a little error for not having the little bandhammer badge.
I got that one.
Oh, okay. Well, in that
Bandhammer.
case, you're good.
This is a nice looking car.
Yeah, yeah. I really like this body, and just very classic sports car kind of fittings.
It looks a bit like, to me, like an Aston Martin or perhaps a 1960s Volvo. It's quite a classic looking car. You are right.
Streamlined in the back.
Looks
1960s
it
what?
looks more a 1960s Volvo. Volvo did some really nice
Volvo.
sports cars. Yeah,
Huh.
Volvo. Sorry, my British accent gets in the way, guys.
That's no
Oh,
problem.
I'm deaf. That's my excuse.
Ah,
I'm old and British. That's my excuse.
All right. So I like the taillights too. Just
Oh.
very nice.
that is nice. It's got the GT emblem on there. How does he get in?
Oh,
Through the window. He's doing the whole Dukes of Hazzard thing there in the red. He's just taking the flag off to avoid any kind of political issue.
yeah.
It does
it's
look
common
like the
for race
Dukes of
cars to
Hazzard
have,
car.
You know, just the panel over the window, and you just hop in the window. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't
It's a
really
race car. It
need-
doesn't need a handle.
Yeah,
For those of you of the younger disposition, I'm on about the Dukes of Hazzard here, but really it's not a Dodge Charger, so it's not an issue.
Yeah.
yeah.
But,
like this. Yeah.
The driver pulls the mirror.
Oh, that's a neat trick.
Yeah. Oh, I just realized chat's not showing, so let me go back and fix this real quick.
Oh,
There we go.
infinity.
There we go. Sorry about that, everybody.
Can I be politically incorrect and say I've just got to find my thing to open my beer with?
Okay. But he's got minus 15 quality on the body.
Yep. So good amount of weight reduction there. Costs a little bit of quality, but it's probably the best place to put a minus 15. If you put
Yeah.
a minus 15 anywhere.
Other than safety and interior. And another
don't-
hand.
Oh, we don't care about comfort in
No.
a
You
race
get a
car.
park bench seat. Good luck.
And say seatbelts are just added weight, and you don't want those either.
Oh, no. You do want the seat belts because the seat belt keeps you behind the wheel when the car spins.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like
not
that's the only safety feature you need.
He's got a handmade aluminum panel material. The rest is, well, pretty standard.
Yep. Steel. It'll rust if it lives that long, which it won't because accidents.
He'll probably lose a quarter panel or two on the race anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that'll reduce the weight.
No
Yeah, but
quality
it
on
throws
the
off
light.
suspension settings. It throws off the suspension settings, you know.
Just slightly.
Yeah.
No quality on the light fixtures, or any air fixtures for that matter.
All right. So,
And you can't pick a quality for the paint, so...
yeah, it looks like just standard fire engine red.
Yep.
I like it, but like
Well, can we say is it Ferrari red? Almost. Let's be charitable. I think that's almost a Ferrari red. It's really quite bright.
I'm going to call it default red.
Yeah, that's a bit dull, Jed. To be perfectly honest, I don't think he's very. I'm colourblind, and George, in my opinion, I'm colourblind, ladies and gentlemen out there, and I'm red-green colourblind. It is so red, I can see it. So, yeah, it's red.
He's got a big engine.
Alfa
sorry.
Rosso. Okay.
Alfa Rosso.
All right then.
I no basic color names. Red, green, blue, purple. Eh.
Anyway,
I'm
you were
not a
saying
painter.
size of the engine, 2.5 liters,
Yeah.
direct acting overhead cam.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
I
It's the
huh.
biggest engine so far, too.
I mean, 2.5 liter. That's
Two
pretty.
two and a half liter isn't a huge engine, and for not
No.
especially not for V8.
No.
But like
No.
in this contest, we're so used to seeing sub 1 liter V8s that like this
Well,
one
that's
looks
almost-
like a big block.
To be perfectly honest, that's basically a motorcycle engine, a high-performance motorcycle engine. Which is,
Yeah, it is.
um,
Could you fit this in a motorcycle? How big is this engine?
2.5 liter. No, you couldn't. Well, you could. But it'd be a
Well,
big motor.
actually, we've done it in the States.
Yeah, I know.
We could cram that into a motorcycle frame.
Let's see. It's four. It looks like it's a 424 by 407 by 414. So,
He's got a bigger stroke
Millimeters.
than a bore.
Yeah, it's a little bit long stroked. So, that's probably the 2 valves per cylinder is probably rewards a long stroke as opposed to big bore. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing I noticed with the pushrod engine is that you're better off going a long stroke.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not revving super high. Like this is almost like an ordinary kind of rev limit here.
It sounds
Ford?
like someone's racing something outside my house. I'm sorry about that.
No, we can't hear it, so you're all right.
good.
Yeah. Ford's crank cast everything else.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
with
a
a
little
big
surprised
engine
with
like that, it has more torque. But I'm not sure if this size of an engine will make that much of a difference.
Yeah, I'm not
It
seeing
might have a lot of.
anything happen if I switch it to cast iron. So
It saves weight and material, and makes it a smoother running engine.
okay, fair enough.
But the key thing here with these bigger cars is which is a problem depending on the track, is the rate of acceleration. He's got 2.5 liters there, and he's running 169 horsepower, which it depends on whether he's got the ratio, how close he is to that ratio on weight to power to weight ratio. Yeah. So
Well-
it's then
sorry.
down to the handling.
Yeah, I think like because of the power to weight ratio restriction, the cars are very similar in a straight line, except for mine, which is slow as dirt. But like for cornering, it gets very interesting.
Yeah.
For some reason, my game has decided to like hold again.
Oh.
So
It seems to be doing what it wants at times.
all right. Well, I've made it stop. So okay.
A pretty normal compression rating. I'm
Yeah.
just looking at
40
that.
cam profile. That's pretty standard cam profile. Like this, like you could probably pull this engine out and put it in like a production car, and with minimal changes, make it
Yeah.
a pretty decent engine.
Throw some door handles on
hold
there,
on.
you've got yourself a sporty
No.
production car.
Cam profile 55. For some reason, it was displaying wrong. But yeah,
Oh.
55. Okay, so it's a little bit more cam profile than you'd get on a standard production car, but it's a race engine. And it's pretty conservative by the standards that we've seen.
Oh yeah, it's conserved by the standards we've seen so far. And it's
When-
the first positive cab quality.
On positive
Yeah,
quality,
+2 quality on this part.
Yeah, well, I mean that makes a lot of sense. It's like you want to tame that valve flow.
Oh yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
bad valve flow.
Yeah, but like, it's direct acting overhead cam. It's kind of primitive. It's a primitive kind of valve technology there. I am surprised by the 2-barrel carbs. I saw the 2 carbs and I was like, it's going to be 4-barrel, but it's 2-barrel. So this is a second car with 2-barrel carbs. They are cheaper, but
Well-
it puts a restriction on the fuel mixture that you can use.
Well, he
And
doesn't lose anything. If it's at the horsepower ratio, then he doesn't really need more than twin.
And also by having a twin.
Yeah,
also by having-
actually, I'm looking at it. He gets 0.01, 0.1. Sorry, he gets 0.1 in performance index if he switches to 4-barrel, and he loses 2.3 in reliability, and he gains a whole bunch of fuel octane, so he could get more power out of it, but he doesn't need the power.
Yeah, he
So-
gains responsiveness,
Yeah,
which
he
might
does
be
gain
important, but
but that's just low end stuff.
yeah,
So
at the higher end, you still have the responsiveness there anyway.
yeah, the advantage of the extra barrels is that you get a better setup across the entire range of the engine. Like I was looking this up a couple weeks ago.
What about cost?
It saves him about 200 or 140 or 160 or something. It does save him a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 112 bucks.
I don't know how close he is to budget on this car.
Yeah, but yeah, going with the 2-barrel does save a fair amount of money. And it saves another 130 to have 2 instead of 3. Performance intake, 82 ignition timing. That's pretty standard for this kind of cam profile, I think.
Well, it's actually high for this cam profile, I think. It's been standard so far for the race, but I'm not sure if it's...
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm looking at my notes, and, more typical, if you're in a 50 to 60 range, is having an ignition timing around a 60. In my notes, that's what comes up as optimal. So, let me look real quick at my experimental data.
So that engine's firing very, very early.
Yeah, but, it doesn't cost a huge amount to be going up to a high cam profile relative to a medium cam profile. It's not huge.
It's
60...
more efficient for the racing, though. Because having an advanced ignition timing means that you're more efficient at higher RPMs. Sorry for the stuttering.
In that case, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like the 2-barrel carburetors, it doesn't actually cost anything up top.
No.
And he's got the power to spare because he's got a 2.5-liter engine, so he has a lot of leeway with sort of his design.
Since he's not pushing it to as far as it can go, he's got a lot of leeway to work with.
That's going to increase by not overrunning the fuel, basically, the octane. By the way, he's taken a very, what I would call, conservative approach here, in the fact that in terms of reliability, he's got a decent reliability out of this engine. There's a lot of spare capacity. He's not over pushing everything, all the parts. And that means an endurance type race is important.
Yeah. Let me check my notes. I took a bunch of notes from the top trump cards. Let's see, reliability. Let's see, the top 3 reliability. Let's see. Did I don't know if I wrote down who had the top reliability. There's one guy who had a 42.8, but I don't know how many people were above 30 or how far above 30.
Yeah, I think he wrote down the most reliable car and the least reliable car.
Yeah, I wrote down what was most and least, but I didn't write down stuff in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, 31.8 on the engine's pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty good reliability index.
Yeah, and actually, I'm looking at the cost. $685.54. That's pretty good for engine cost in this competition, isn't it?
Particularly for such a large engine.
Yeah, he's not doing anything fancy here, and that's saving him a fair amount of money.
Yeah, his highest quality on the engine is +2. And then the next one's +1, and that's it. He's only got +3 engine quality spread out throughout the engine.
Yeah, so this is almost a production engine put into a race car. All right.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential to do a lot more with this engine to get a lot more power out of it.
Yeah, but he's limited, so he's
limited. So he could have actually gone for a smaller engine, slightly lighter, and gone for a better, more responsive engine than this, and still had a similar power.
Yeah, so we'll see how much that costs him in the race. That he's got a little bit of a heavier engine going. Okay, so I've moved on to the trim tab, the transmission.
I was going to say trim tabs. We're not flying.
He's got good another near 1-to-1 ratio of drivability and sportiness.
Yeah, yeah. Plus 10
He's
quality on the transmission, which
yep.
again, good for that power.
And look at that. This car doesn't spin much.
Yeah, it has a little scoot from like 60 to 70 kilometers an hour.
Just a small one.
Yeah, this is one of the least wheel spin in any of the cars in the competition so far.
But for a first, he's not.
Can you tell me how can you work out whether he's got wheel spin or not?
Oh, here. You see this red part of the graph?
Yep.
Here, the engine's making the tires spin.
Right.
Where it's blue, you've got grip, and you're getting optimal acceleration. When it goes red again, or yellow, well, the yellow line is actually the optimal acceleration, and what you're missing. You're losing engine power here. You're losing a bit from the grip there. Because you can have more here if you had more engine power, as the blue represents the potential, and the red represents the potential, but you're just spinning.
So by adjusting your gearbox, you can
change that, yeah.
Yeah, so red is what the engine's actually doing, and yellow is your acceleration, effectively, and blue
Yellow is your effective acceleration. Blue is how much
possible
you could get with grip, and red is how much you could get with the engine. So yellow is whichever's less.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you could get the engine to match the grip, that'd be the optimal one, but... Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. This is one of the closest that we've seen.
Yeah.
Okay, so I looked at the top speed. It's geared down a little bit, so...
Which is the first one we've seen geared down.
Sorry?
It's the first one we've seen geared down. Under the possible estimated top speed.
Well, actually, no. Like, most of them, if you bumped up the estimated top speed, you would have a higher top speed, because that you're moving that power peak toward the top speed.
But what I'm referring to is
nice, but like in the top gear, you're not going to get to that overrun because you just don't have enough power to.
No, you're not going to.
Yeah. So this one's actually geared down, maybe pretty substantially compared to most, but I'll do a quick check. Let's see.
Most of them
by gearing down, isn't he causing his wheel spin problems there? By gearing up a little, he's going to reduce the wheel spin and possibly get a higher grip level.
If I push that up to what I've seen more normal, his wheel spin drops to 24, but it just destroys his acceleration.
Yeah, well, it would. It would reduce acceleration.
Yeah.
Which we can see there. That, in fact, there's a slight point there where his grip exceeds. The problem actually is... here's the top. I think is where he's getting towards the top end. If you look at the top end, the top end of the acceleration bin, on the right-hand side of that graph, that's where his problem lies. In that his acceleration is below what the grip of the car can give him.
Well, so that's kind of inevitable when you get into the higher gears, because the tires are basically going to keep that grip, but just unless you have a truly huge engine, which we're not going to have in this contest, you just can't get enough power to use all your grip out of
it takes a lot of horsepower to spin your tires out in fifth gear.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Like, there's some American cars that do it, but... why? Alright, so, yeah, he's got it geared down pretty substantially on the top end. Like, he could get a lot more top speed out of the car, but... lower gearing means you get to the top speed faster, and that's probably worthwhile for lap time.
He could run the risk of, because he's geared it down below the estimated top speed, he could run the risk of over-revving it when going downhill.
Well, I think generally speaking what they do is they just lift. The driver will just lift if it's getting close to the red line. They're pretty aware, like, you know, race car drivers, they talk a lot to the engineers. They want to win the races too. They don't want to blow out their valves and end up stuck by the side of the track. So
shoot the piston out the side of the engine block.
How far they can push the engine.
I've seen a friend jam his starter motor on and then wonder what the noise was and blow and blow the flywheel out, the parts of the flywheel out the side of the car. That's an
Well,
expensive side.
yeah, that is contraindicated in a race condition.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, that was a V4 engine that he did that to. That was a car I sold him as well. It was a good car. He jammed steering, but the guy was, Oh well, it's a story for another day.
We get to see one of the advantages of going with a bigger car once we get to the tire screen.
Oh yeah, he's got a 13-inch rim that still fits the 175 tires.
Yeah,
which you can't do on the small car.
Yeah. He has room for a little bit more tire under there in terms of the wheel diameter, but he doesn't need it. He can keep that lower profile. Not very low, but...
And he's got a little bit of rim offset on the front.
Yeah. This is the second car we've seen with more front offset than rear offset. I haven't played around with that, so I can't really talk to what the benefits are. But
What does it actually mean, offsetting the rims? Is he...
It's putting the wheels further out from the center of the car.
Right. See, I'd normally put the rears further out from the center. Because these are front-wheel drive cars, I'd want more stability at the back of the car.
No, these are rear. These are rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'd want my rear wheels further out, narrower at the front, if you get my drift, because that gives you greater rear stability when going into a bend.
I haven't played with this, so I really couldn't speak to
Just
what
as
the
a
advantages
thought.
are. I'm guessing that the wider front stance has been working for people, which would be the reason why people have been trying it.
He's got the best brakes we've seen, but because the car is heavier, it still has the same stopping distance. But much better brake fade.
That's very good.
That's interesting. I see he's actually given up on a fair amount of the braking at low speeds. Like he's just left some extra room on the tire. On the expectation that he's very rarely going to go below 60, 70 kilometers an hour.
Yeah,
so,
which is true. You don't go below that except on the slowest corners.
Brake pads means more drivability because of that design choice, and that's costing him in the 100 to 0. But if you're talking about 200 to 60, it's not costing him anything, and it's helping the driver control the car.
So what are we looking at here? I mean, I've got the braking, which is the time in seconds on that side is to slow down. But it's here on the right that this graph here is quite interesting.
This red line is the grip the front tires provide for braking.
Yep.
And the blue line down here that curves downwards, the dark blue, not the light blue line, that's the grip the back tires provide for braking. And these other two straight lines are the brake's power.
Right.
So here, you can see my mouse, I imagine. Here, he's locked his back tires up. I think.
Is that because basically the brakes are overcooking on the vehicle?
Yeah.
He has surplus braking power at
in the
high
rear.
End on the rear, and he's short at the low end. And on the front, he doesn't have enough brakes to lock it up, however fast it's going.
Yeah.
So, like the 2LS drum brakes are probably going to be a significant help in 1965. I don't know if disc brakes are available in 65, but it's going to be interesting seeing who goes with the drums and who goes with the disc brakes.
Well, having driven a car, or actually own a 1942 lorry, which has drum brakes all round, they're great when I've got no load on. But if I actually put a load of kit in the back for going to an event, if it gets damp, boy, do you get brake fade. You learn and also on early period Jeeps, I've driven early World War II Willys Jeeps.
Oh God.
Yeah. All I say is brake early to avoid disappointment.
Here's the thing. Another random story. We got a fire truck in my department. It's the tanker. This sucker carries about 4 to 6 tons of water. It is drum brakes everywhere. This thing takes 1.5 miles to stop from 65. You blow through red lights, not intentionally, but because it just You can't stop this truck.
hence my phrase, brake early, avoid
Yeah.
disappointment. Yeah, I mean, you're quite lucky, I suppose, on a fire truck, you can get blue lights going. So, you know, even
Red
if you're
lights
braking
here.
hard and nothing's happening, anybody collides with you, you can say, hey, I had the blue lights going
And siren.
and siren, you should get out of my way.
Drums with weight and loads, not very good.
No,
Yeah.
no.
But he's got a +9 quality, so that helps it out a lot.
Yeah, it's not the highest quality we've seen on brakes, but yeah, I'm imagining we're going to see a lot of high numbers on the brake quality because just we need to get these cars stopped.
Now, in the case here where his rear brakes are clearly exceeding the performance of the tyres, therefore leading to lock-up, would it be worth him reducing the quality of it? Can he afford to reduce the quality on those rear brakes?
I'd use it to power slide.
I think the way the game is implemented now, it assumes that the driver will modulate their brake force, or the brakes will just be calibrated in such a way that it doesn't tend to lock up. Like, I think the game calculates braking distance assuming that you are on the best braking line for each tire.
Yeah.
So, if you have excess brakes in the rear, then it doesn't... Like, right now, there's no penalty for that. Like, that's something that you can adjust the brake bias in the car.
Well, there actually is a bit of one. You see it when you adjust the brake pad type. You bring it down, it is less prone to locking up, so therefore is more drivable. But if you bring the pad type closer to race, it's more prone to locking, and therefore more sporty. Because you can get it sideways.
Yeah, and also the brakes are...
The interesting here is looking...
responsive, I think.
if
It's complicated. At the moment, though, like, this lower pad type on the rear, I'm betting that pays off on the lap times.
Oh yeah, because it'll help with the drivability.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at speed of 250, the graph is a bit inverted. I don't understand. I'm trying to read this graph. So what I'm saying is that if I'm doing 200 kilometers per hour, and I draw that line down, it tells me that it's less than a second to stop. But if I'm going 0, it takes 6 seconds.
Oh, it's not time. This is the force that's available.
No, I'm on the left.
Oh, you're looking at that.
Graph.
I wasn't paying attention to that one.
Starting at top speed, how fast the car is going as a function of time with full brakes.
Right.
That is a bit of a confusing graph.
Yes,
So,
I can get it. I can get it now. So,
you
at
were
full
at top
speed, it takes
speed.
you 6 seconds. Just over 6 seconds from full speed to stop.
Yeah.
So really, you want that graph to be very steep.
For drivability and sportiness, yeah. For comfort, not so much.
No.
Like, there isn't a huge reward for having effective brakes in terms of comfort.
No. We're not dividing heavy comfort, are we? We are.
No,
definitely
no. Amount that we care about comfort is officially 0 in this competition.
Yeah.
We put
So
picnic
So
bench seats in.
just could you just bear with my idea here, guys, and whack the size of the discs up full as you can make them on this?
Well,
They are.
this is the max size of the tire.
Right.
The 13-inch rims mean that you can't get a bigger drum inside the wheels. Like, and there's no option in the game to have like the drum brakes separate and then the wheels further out or something. Like, it's just you gotta
Like
fit
doing it
inside
like
the
a
car.
Humvee.
No, it's because the drum's set up against the hub anyway. That's how you mount the wheels. So.
Unless it's a Humvee, because they got to be different.
It's
They put
a
the
thing
they
that
put
some
the
people
brakes in
have
the
done,
Humvee
but-
by the differentials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
The idea being that if the wheel gets taken out, you don't lose your brakes. Because it won't rupture the brake lines. But it's a pain in the arse to maintain, I imagine.
Yeah, not something that people want for their daily drivers.
No.
All right, so he's got maximum airflow going to keep that brake fade down. Let me do a quick check.
And he's slightly undercooling his engine.
Yeah, he's getting about 0.5% reduction to the brake fade from that brake airflow. And yeah, he is slightly undercooling his engine, so he's got the extra engine reliability, so it's probably not as big a deal as it is for example, who is it we were looking at yesterday
Who had half?
Yes.
I don't know what his name is, but...
Matt MR2. yeah, Matt MR2. Like his engine, like I said yesterday, he probably brings a ice maker to just fill up the radiator before the race.
He's got
Because
liquid nitrogen cooling.
Yeah, yes.
yeah,
Although,
like
to be perfectly frank, pouring liquid nitrogen as a cooling system, and then
Probably a
heating it
bad
up to
idea.
high temperature is not a good idea. It is going to take a lot of the heat away, but immediately as it does so, the nitrogen will turn from liquid to gas multiple times in that,
And the next thing you know, all the seals are gone in the cooling system. Pipes
Well,
are cracked.
I'm more thinking. I'm thinking more explosion,
Yeah.
followed by shrapnel. Would be the way
I,
to
I
describe that as a
think
cooling system.
I think the main thing that is the problem with the liquid nitrogen cooling system is the reliability, because the car isn't going to last long enough to complete the race.
Look at the last match, it goes away from the bloody start line. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and that's not what you want. So I think ice water is the way to go.
Yeah.
All right.
He's got a +9 quality on the aerodynamics, but I just noticed he's still using like 10 liters of fuel every 100 kilometers.
Well, it's a big car.
Yeah.
It's a fastback. It's got a reasonable coefficient of drag, but it's a much bigger car than the Sprite, and that affects how much drag it is. You can see on the chart, like
There's a lot of drag.
Yeah, you're talking over 90 horsepower of drag at top speed.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Standard interior that we've been having, -15 quality, and he's using the safety trick to bring the weight down.
Yep. So that's
So having no safety doesn't give you a weight advantage. By making it standard 50s and then making it 0, it gets you a lower weight.
The next version does fix that.
yeah. Apparently, the way it was supposed to work is that -15 is the quality of the fittings, which is I assume it's like a master brake cylinder or something, or like
Whatever the parts would be.
whatever the parts are in the 50s that was the height of safety technology at the time. Safety glass, whatever. -15 means that you have the world's least safe safety glass, but it also means that the body construction is much less sturdy. Like, you don't have that strong box for the cabin to protect the passengers. And that should be reducing weight in none, but it doesn't in this version, which is why people are running standard with a -15. It costs
that's
a little
fixed
bit of
next version.
reliability on the average reliability, but it
You save so much weight.
yeah. It also costs a metric butt ton of safety in my experience. But
These
yeah.
are race cars.
Yeah, I mean,
saving that weight is very important.
-15 Chinese safety, +15 Volvo. And now no one will be able to see what that comment is on YouTube for another 30 seconds.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So suspension settings. Oh, hey.
Soft rear.
But look at that sway bar. Like, that sway bar. Who was it? Strop. You stole that sway
Using-
bar off of Strop's car.
For the rear, at least. The front end is more reasonable.
Well, apparently it
is
works.
is it sort of a bit soft there at the back, isn't it, really?
The suspension is soft. The sway bar is not.
Maybe that reduces like wheel spin.
Oh, the rear,
because-
the rear sway bar is not very. That's actually also by not having it very stiff at the rear there. But then look at his spring stiffness at the rear.
Well, I can see two reasons to set it up like this. One is during straight line acceleration, having those soft springs in the rear means that the weight can transfer back to the rear, and so you can get a better acceleration off the line or out of the corner. And then you make up for that softness when it
With
comes
the
to
sway bar.
cornering with the sway bar. That's one reason. The
Because
other
his
reason-
roll angle is only 1.3. I
Well, yeah, because
think the other lowest was 1.4.
Yeah, I think that's the tightest roll angle we've seen. This car is cornering very level.
which is because he's got the sway bar so stiff. I mean, I personally, I'd stiffen the bloody springs up as well, and that in the back, and it will not give you. It'll go sideways before it'll bloody well flex.
A softer suspension actually gives you better grip.
Yeah,
to an extent.
to an extent, but it's not soft suspension because the sway bar is stopping the suspension moving.
Yeah. So I mean, this is probably it. This is another weird car to drive.
It's certainly not an independent rear suspension, is it?
Uh,
No.
It's basically a solid shaft.
Yeah, with a set of springs on it.
Yeah.
With a very
Yeah.
sort of sloppy springs. I just don't get it as a configuration. It's not very balanced in its idea.
well,
You want a balanced roll and stiffness to give you the optimum curve as you come around the bend, and I'm not sure whether that's there.
And this graph here means a pretty rough ride, because you see, with the wheel bump, is basically the body bump.
yeah, it's bouncing a bit.
Yeah,
well,
because of the soft suspension, isn't it?
Yeah. It's got
You want all
very-
those lines to line. You want all those lines lining up.
It's got pretty good damper. It's got a lot of damper on it, and a lot of camber. Progressive springs of very poor quality.
Oh yeah, and -7.
That saves some money.
And you don't get that much. You don't lose that much with -7 quality and suspension, I
right.
don't
You
think.
don't really lose grip. It does cost you some in terms of drivability and sportiness.
And comfort.
And well, yeah, but we already decided that we don't care. Like if you cared about comfort, you would have put like any padding on the seats.
Yeah.
Who
But
else
there's
is that
still
has,
no
like, a
bottom out.
-7? Well, look at the ride height, 227.8 millimeters. It's a pretty high floating car, so that helps tame that bottom out.
He'll have more lift that way, though.
Yeah, that's probably going to affect.
Ooh, look at the
high speed.
downforce rear.
Oh, yeah. That's
It's
That-
got lift. It's got
a
lift
lot of
instead of downforce.
well, all the cars have lift because
Yeah.
no aero.
There's no ailerons, there's no lips or anything, so they're all going to have lift.
But
Yeah.
we're looking at 51.6 in the front, 48.4 in the rear for weight distribution, but it's lifting more in the rear. So this car is going to be very skittish at high speed.
It's going to be like a Ford Capri. I know that's going to be nothing to you American guys, but it's going to be like a 3-litre Ford Capri Mark 1. It's going to be where the rear end used to, or the 2.8 injection. That always used to be a fun car. I borrowed one off somebody once, and it was a drifter's dream. It really was. You could get the back end to twitch on it, no problem at all. Then, with almost no speed, and with a 2.8 injection, it used to really go some. No, I am. If any of you are British out there and old, you know basically how old I am if I know about 2.8 injection Capris and 3-litre Capris and stuff like that.
The cornering is worse than.
The cornering is, I think, fine. Like it's not great. Like there's a lot of cars that have the very good cornering, the better than 1.2. It's actually pretty decent at high speed relative to a lot of the cars. Like
Yeah.
the best car at high speed only gets 1.16. So 1.09 is actually it's not bad.
No.
Like this isn't going to win any
Cornering contest.
cornering contests. But you know, semi slicks, a lot of camber. It'll turn. I like once again, this car is very close to the red 1-to-1 line on steering behavior. No understeer. So that is going to help reduce the tire wear. But that, like with as much camber as it has, that tire wear is going to be a little bit of an interesting thing. And it's a heavier car, so
Yeah.
tire wear.
He gets 241.72 on the automation track.
Which is pretty good, actually. That's reasonable. I mean, we've seen figures on the Sprite type car down to about the 239.
Some
know,
got
probably
237,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
but that was yesterday.
I think that was Matt MR2. So we agreed yesterday that his car is freaking fast, but like the reliability issues might be a serious problem for him in the competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because it's going to cost him races. Because these races, I've watched some of the 1940s races with Jed, and it's performance. I actually sat one evening and watched Jen Jeff's car, getting a reasonable good position. It wasn't winning, but it stayed pretty well, top 10.
Yeah, like especially in the reverse start, having a car that is a workhorse pays off.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a good thing for Pyrrhix in this competition. Is well, I don't know. His engine reliability is very good. His overall reliability isn't so great. So he's
But
gonna
that only
have to worry
matters
about,
if there's an impact.
yeah, if he has any kind of impact, it could block up some of the vents. It could lead to a bit of overheating on the engine. But as long as he keeps it clean, I think he has a pretty good chance of getting some points.
Mm-hmm. And now next car. Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's a nice looking car.
Oh, it is a nice
I
looking
do really
car.
like that car. All right, what's next?
Rob the Fiend.
Rob
Who I'm
the
going to
Fiend.
call as
The
Rob.
Fiend.
I
Rob
think
the Fiend.
I think I saw Rob in the chat, so pretty convenient that we're doing his car.
Evening, Rob, if you're there.
Oh, it's another big car.
Oh. Now, I love the colour. I love that colour.
It is a nice green.
It is a lovely green. That's almost JRG. Sorry,
Yeah,
PRG.
a little bit darker than JRG.
Yeah. Jaguar Racing Green is a special colour reserved for my car downstairs.
I discovered I can zoom through the car. Sorry.
That front grille arrangement is
I like it.
fascinating. I do.
If
Like
you look
the
under the
little
bumper,
weird
it's down there
little
too.
Scoop as a grill, and then the
little
big thing at
spots
the bottom.
under
It
there,
is a funky looking car, but I like it.
I think it's a good look at the front. Not sure about the front indicators, but you know what? I like it. You're right. And look at the side grills there.
Yeah.
They're a bit substantial. I'd like to see them a bit smaller, but that's still a good look.
Yeah, Strop had
How do you
little
get
side
in this
grills
one?
as well. It worked well for him too. The back, very simple, very plain, and I think it's nice.
I think it's elegant, the back.
Yeah. This is a classic kind of car. Once again, this is one of those cars that I don't know if it's going to win races, but I would like to have the poster with the picture of this car.
Yeah, it's got something of the Bentley about the back of it. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Looks a bit like a Bentley. I know it's the same body. Yeah, it's got a bit of a sort of classic Bentley look to it with that badge. Yeah, it's got something about it.
A quad exhaust.
Quad exhaust. Ooh, cha.
We'll
How
have to
big
look
is
at the engine and see if it's using those quad exhausts.
It's an i6. But we'll get to that shortly.
Oh, that's
Right.
going to be cool. That's
Okay,
something completely
so
different. I
back
like
to the body.
i6s.
Zero quality on the body.
panel. So we're talking. This car is actually properly built. They didn't go light on the body panels. They built it pretty standard coachwork.
Mm-hmm.
Steel, handmade aluminum body. So it's light. It's not the lightest body with this body type, but it's not going to be a heavy car.
Nope. It's zeros across the board for quality in the model area, the body parts.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Like, if you go negative, then you're going to have some interesting kind of reliability disadvantages. If you go positive, it's going to be expensive in a hurry. So zeros is pretty standard. All right, and like you said, inline six.
A
Very
big
smooth
inline
engine.
6, 3.2 liter.
Oh, do you know, that's the same as the engine that's fitted to my Bedford lorry. That's a 3-litre straight 6, and I'm telling you now, that thing is going to sound gorgeous.
Another direct acting overhead cam. Very interesting. I didn't know that people would be using those. Like, in my mind, I either went push rod, single overhead cam, or dual overhead cam. Like, the direct acting, I'm not familiar with the advantages of this.
How does that
Valve.
work? I mean, I know what a push rods are because I've taken them to the back, and I know how a standard double overhead cam engine works because you've got a belt. Oh, it's a belt?
You've got a belt, but go ahead and kick down the little slider and show the little valve action on the stream. I think it's like the picture makes it very clear how it works.
Yeah, so it's working directly. The belt literally is turning directly right over the top of the valve.
Yeah, the cams literally are pushing down the valve. No rocker arms, just straight onto the valve.
No, it's straight on.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Yep.
that's yeah, that's going to be intense.
All right.
There'd be less friction with this setup, though.
Less friction in push rod, but I don't think it doesn't actually do very well compared to the overhead cam or dual overhead cam. It's a little bit more friction than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're having to with the rockers, effectively you're getting leverage on the spring.
Yeah. All right.
But what it
So-
leads to is a very thin engine when you think
Oh,
about
yeah.
it, because it's going to be thin. It's going to be. Oh yeah.
All right.
And it's forged all across. No extra quality here.
Yeah, but forged is good enough for this purpose.
Mm-hmm.
+2 quality on the cams, which it pretty badly needs.
Yeah.
67 cam profile, 10 toe compression ratio. So, sports car numbers.
Mm-hmm.
+3 quality on those twin 4-barrel carbs. So, yeah, this is another one with 4-barrel carbs. Performance intake.
What's he got red on the valves there? With a float or something?
There's valve float.
Yeah. The red on the valves, those springs aren't stiff enough to get those valves closed at high RPM quickly enough. And yeah, that leads to a little bit of loss of power, a little bit of waste of fuel at the high
it
RPMs.
Dings the reliability, too.
Yeah. Reliability 29, it's
Better
it's
than a lot of
below
them.
the sort of 30 rule of thumb, but it's close.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not spending a huge amount of money on quality anywhere that we've seen.
No.
Let's see.
He's got
60
an
ignition
exhaust.
timing, that's pretty good for.
What's he got the exhaust for?
Sorry.
Oh, I just went to the exhaust, and he's got a baffled exhaust.
Oh. Well, that makes it much more comfortable for the driver. Like, I think in 1945, at least some of the editions of the sports car that I entered had baffled exhausts on them.
I mean, the other great point of putting a baffle in is you get more back pressure, which actually.
Yeah, it might be a matter of calibrating the back pressure, actually. Yeah, just get exactly the amount of restriction that you want in your exhaust system to get to just exactly that point. He does have a restrictive exhaust system. He would get an extra bump in power if he opened up those pipes a little bit. It would be an extra 7 horsepower, an extra 3.3 performance index, but he's locking it down, I'm guessing, to keep the power to weight ratio at standard.
Probably.
So the
And-
reps
and-
are
and
going
I-
to have to keep an eye on this car, make sure that nobody pokes a hole in the exhaust pipes before the race. But yeah, all right.
Dick Dastardly will be underneath cutting away the front of the baffle.
Yeah.
See, none of you know these cultural references. This is terrifying.
Well, some of the viewers might.
Yeah,
TV
I mean,
tropes. I do know about Dick Dastardly and
Muttley, the wacky races, yeah, Peter
Yeah.
Perfect, and all that sort of stuff.
I don't know the second thing, but I recognize the name.
Yeah, he was basically a bad guy. He is your classic. Yeah, he's just your bad guy, and he's class. We love Dick
actually-
Dastardly and Muttley.
I just noticed the fuel octane, 97.6. He could have leaned it out a little bit. Not 2 points, but he could have done 1 point of leaning it out. I don't know if that's something that would have been. I don't know what motivated that decision, but he could have given it a little bit more leanness and made the engine more economical. It does cost him responsiveness, and it does cost a bit of torque, but it wouldn't really cost any horsepower.
He might have been trying to keep the responsiveness.
All right, so we've looked at the engine. Let's take a look at
You want-
the.
We have to ask a question here. Has he used quadruple exhausts?
No,
No.
no.
He didn't. See, he's
What
got it
one of
mounted on.
those, one of those exhausts, like maybe he branches it out at the back of the car just for style, but like he doesn't need all those pipes coming out the back.
No.
He's not using them. Yeah.
I probably shouldn't use those arrow keys, because, oh, look, there's the tire glitch again. Which they do know about. I sent a message to Kill Rob.
All right. So only
They're not
plus
bothering
7,
to fix
which
it
is a
because
weird
they're
thing
working
to
on
say,
transferring the
but
game to a new engine.
a lot of plus, but he's only got plus 7 on his drivetrain, so he's probably taking a little bit of a disadvantage in terms of wheel horsepower with the power to weight ratio.
He's also getting a lot of spin there at about 80k,
Yeah.
and he seems to drop there as yeah. I think maybe he needs a bit more grip there somewhere.
You know, actually, I'm
The
looking
grip-
at it, and I don't know. I'm not really worried about that spin. I mean, you know, the tires spin a little bit. You need to be careful with the throttle in first gear. A lot of race cars have that kind of driving characteristics, and it's not a big deal.
There's a lot of regular cars with that driving characteristic where first gear will spin. I know my old red car, that was easy to get spinning.
I have to admit, I've got automatic transmission on my Jaguar, and I can actually get it to spin if I hammer it away from the lights on a wet day.
Oh, I didn't need a wet road, and I didn't need full throttle.
But you got manual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could get the tires to chirp at 2,000 RPM. It just had that much power just waiting there at 2,000 RPM. The freaking engine was only 130 horsepower.
See, what we need in this is some diesel engines.
I don't know when those are coming. They're coming eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just I have a Jaguar 2.7 litre diesel car. It goes like stink. At the bottom end, the torque comes in a huge, great lump away from the lights. It sort of sits there and goes, ooh, ooh, and then a split second later, you're across the other side. It's just.
Okay,
This
I'm
is a
looking at
pretty
the
good-
gearing. Actually, it's geared long.
Yeah.
He could have gotten a bit more top speed if he had brought the final drive ratio down a bit. So, like, that is a thing that I ding him for. I'd say he probably should have geared it for less top speed because he doesn't have enough power to get up there.
Yeah, but also have a look at the fact of what you're doing there. That's actually a much better profile there. If you go one more, click on that.
He loses a lot of the
look at that.
wheel slip.
That's a much one more back to where you were. Now that, in my opinion, is a better profile. Looking at that right-hand graph, he's going to get power right the way through his grip range, so he's not wasting anything. And in fact, he's actually getting a better performance out of the car. That's going to be a better.
Oh, all
With a
right.
top speed of 273 as opposed to 267. But this rate, look at what happens to his acceleration. At 273, 8.5.
You know, I was actually talking about going the other way, going down
Yeah.
to 260 kilometers per hour. Or actually, let me go ahead.
At 260, he gets another benefit, but it's like for the amount of wheel spin he's getting because of that.
Well,
that
you could
tenth of a
I mean,
second.
you could just make the spacing push up the first gear as you bring down the top gear. But like for top speed,
I mean, you got to remember that's the 0 to 60. You're losing what 0.3 of a second on the 0 to 60, but depending on
Which
your
isn't
track,
important.
depending on your track, you're more going to need that extra 6 kilometers an hour, because on that stroke, what you're losing on the 0 to 60, I don't know. It depends on the track, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, it does.
yeah.
If
I
he gears it long with a higher top speed, if it's a track with a lot of corners, you lose time. But if it's a track with a lot of straightaways, you gain a lot.
Yeah.
Well, actually, what I'm looking at, if he gears it shorter, his car only tops out at 234. I say only. That's one of the fastest cars we've seen.
Yeah.
But if he made the gears a little bit shorter, he could get that up to 236 kilometers an hour. So like that's what I'm talking about. Like he doesn't have quite enough power to get up to the sort of 260 that he's geared it for. If he cranked it down to 254, he'd be getting a little bit more top speed out of the car, and he could adjust the spacing to compensate. I don't know if there's some other strategy that's going on, like he needs second and third to be where they are, but I probably would have geared it for a lower final drive ratio, give it a little bit more speed at the top end.
Yeah.
Anyway, tires. Here we have our first
Sports compound.
Yeah. He wants those tires to last, and he's got as much tire as he can. He's got the sports compound. A lot of offset, and more.
So that would
once again,
that would
got more in the front than the rear.
See, the other thing is here, this would also explain possibly why we had those grip issues at 80 kilometers an hour. Because I reckon you put semi-slicks on that, it's going to deliver. Put the semi-slicks on for a second and see what it does. Yeah, see, that's going to bring that down.
Weirdly, I just checked on my computer. Giving it the semi-slicks makes the car oversteer.
Yeah, it does. But it is configured for better
When
handling on sports.
when you think about it, you're gaining more grip. If you've got more grip, when you turn the wheel, you're going to get the car's going to turn quicker. So you'll get an oversteer situation.
So just the extra centripetal acceleration overwhelms the front wheels, overwhelms the rear wheels first if it has the extra grip.
Yeah.
Like just the roll angle or something. All right. But he doesn't have semi-slicks. He has sports compound. Tires are going to last a little bit longer. 175s. He's got the 13-inch rim, so he's got as much rim as he can with the 250mm drum brakes.
He's
Only
also
a +6. Interesting.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
he's also another one that's put more offset to the front.
Yeah. The wheel offset, he does have more rim offset in the front than the rear. So I'm guessing that that's going to have some advantages. I haven't played with that. I'm going to have to take a look at that for 1965.
He's got pretty high brake fade for such a large brake.
Bloody hell, yeah.
Yeah, he only has 11.4 kilojoules per second. And remember, he didn't use the quality to reduce the weight of the body. So...
And he didn't put a lot of quality into the brakes either.
Yeah, so that's let's see, 49.5.
Ooh, I think this might be one of the longest stopping distances from 100 kilometers an hour.
It's toward the upper end. There is, I don't know who the number 26 car is, but the number 26 car stops in 51 meters.
Don't know what that is in feet.
Okay.
Multiplied by 3.
Right. 3 1/3.
So 3 1/3, yeah.
So, let's see. A third would be 17, so 253, 270, 270 feet.
Ooh, yeah. That's
So,
Ouch.
this is one of the longer stopping distances, but it's not the longest in the competition.
Yeah.
That's going to cost him in the race. To be frank, that will cost him.
It is going to be a big penalty, but, you know, he spends the money as best as he can. And you notice that his engine was more expensive than the engine we saw on Pierlix's car. So he doesn't have as much money to spend on this body quality stuff, on the brakes, on the aero, on the transmission.
This spec does force you to compromise, and somewhere along the line, if you go, you know, something's got to give. So it's easy for us to sit here and be quite, you know, to be quite clinical and nasty about it, or not nasty, but you know, critical.
We're not being nasty.
No, critical. So, but yeah, that's still, when you think about it, people like to go for power.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Power! Yeah, blessings.
Power and speed! Speed and power!
This weekend will be the last ever proper episode of Top Gear in the UK. It's an hour and a half special. of all the material they didn't broadcast earlier on this year. So it'll be people will be very upset. And the guy they've got to take over from it, boy, is he irritating. He makes Clarkson look. Oh Jesus, man!
I haven't been following the news. I'll have to look them up.
Oh.
Or just skip it, because like I yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm looking to Aero +4 quality. He has enough cooling, so that's good.
And some brake airflow.
And he's got a good amount of brake airflow. Not enough to completely cure the brake fade, but he's putting a dent in the brake fade with that brake airflow.
And one reason why he doesn't have that much money.
-6 quality on the interior?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's given his driver a pillow.
Yeah, actually, this is the best interior we've seen. Like, I think there was one car that had a -7. This is -6. Like, we're talking 3 layers of cloth between the driver and the metal. Like,
and he didn't use the safety trick.
Yeah. So this car is a bit heavier than 1,000 kilograms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably going to cost him in cornering, but yeah, it is.
Rob just said in chat that he's using the interior quality to balance the power to weight ratio.
Okay. All right. Okay, I can understand that. Like my tendency was just cut weight and figure out how to cut power later, but
it's easy to lose power.
Yeah.
So it's easy to lose power. This is why because of this power to weight ratio, this competition has led to these Sprite-like cars, small, lightweight with a lightweight power, because it is easier to put a car like that round a bend. It's easier to make it stop.
Yeah.
And that's why this competition has shown the small car is, king of the racetrack.
Yeah. We'll have to see which cars among the rest of the field are doing best. But, okay. In the meantime, I'm just looking at...
Rob just said he didn't know about the cheat, but it's not a cheat. It was a glitch with normal.
It's actually, there's a weird
It was a
bug.
glitch with normal, not actually the safety. Normal, when the quality was reduced with normal, it should have reduced the weight on the car. But it didn't. That's the glitch.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things that I believe they fixed it in the current update, which we aren't using.
Yeah.
All right.
Because we're worried about the cars not loading if we loaded the current update.
Right. So I've ticked over to the springs.
Yep.
And they're actually kind of in the middle of what we've seen so far. Kind of an intermediate ride height, an intermediate kind of sway bar stiffness, intermediate damper stiffness, intermediate spring stiffness. A little bit toward the higher end of what we've seen in spring stiffness, I think. He didn't subtract any quality on this, so we're talking pretty standard suspension setup. Progressive springs gets us that drivability bonus. No bottoming out.
None.
1.9 roll angle, which is, again, kind of in the middle. I think that 2.8 camber, negative 2.8 degrees of camber on the front, he's going to have to take care of his front wheels in the race.
But he's got sports.
He does have sports, so it's going to last longer, but that camber can cost a lot.
Yeah, but it's not going to cost him as much as if he had the racing slicks.
Oh yeah, with the racing slicks, it would be quite a penalty.
Are there? I can't remember. Are we doing pit stop? Are you doing pit stops?
No pit stops in
Not this
55. I don't know. I think it's something that their buyer has sort of in the pipeline, but I don't know if it's coming in 65 or 75 or later on.
Right. I can't wait till we do 80s cars. There's gonna be some 70s and 80s cars are brilliant.
70s is when turbochargers are going to come in, so I have no idea how that's going to play out.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But
hello, Lord Red. We're just looking at Rob the Fiend's car. We're just finishing up.
Drivability is above sportiness, so that'll help if there's any driver errors.
By the way, the funny noises are me attracting my small kitten that's in here, causing havoc. Yeah, he's got
Oh,
good road holding, isn't you, mate? Come on.
the kitten has good road holding. I don't like. I think Rob the Fiend is actually one of the less grippy cars in this competition.
Ooh, 0.99 on both. But it is consistent. It is the
Yeah.
most consistent car on handling.
Yep, you always know exactly how much grip you have, and it's almost a G.
Yep.
But yeah, like this is actually, I think, in the small circle, this is actually the least grippy car in the competition. There are a couple cars that have 0.98 for the large circle, but this is one of the cars that is going to have the most trouble in the corners. And actually, that combined with the braking is going to be very
Painful.
interesting in the races. I think he's
Well,
going
like
to
I
have a
said, it's
hard
going to
time.
lead. It's going to cost him a lot of time. But what it will do is he will have entertainment driving it.
Yeah, and his top speed is good. Let's see, the best top speed was a 245, and he's got a 235. So he's got a bit of an edge in top speed, so he can make up some of that time on the straightaways. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be placing very high in the competition, but like, we'll see how it goes.
I think on an endurance race he'd do all right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and let me look at the 61.5 total reliability. This is one of the sort of tanks in this race. He's going to be able to handle if there's
Being
any kind
hit.
of incident. His car is going to be able to shake off some collisions that would end the race for other cars.
I also think he wins. I think he though wins so far this evening on looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the coolest looking cars that we've seen. Just full stop. I really like this body.
On the track, he gets 250.54.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's going to be
the
a
braking.
long race for Rob the Fiend this year, I think.
But I would like to say that I think that the car will on some of the different tracks might perform better, and I think he will actually not be as far to the back as people might think because he's got that reliability, he's got the tyres, and that means he's probably actually, as some of those the slick tyres semi-slicks begin to wear out, where his sporty tyres are still getting the grip, I think he could come up the field towards the latter half of the race.
Yeah, and yeah. So, like, that's going to help him in the longer races. It's going to help him in the reverse starts when the cars have to make it through the field. He
could just ram into everything.
I'm not even talking about ramming into everything. They are going to be wearing out their tires trying to get around everybody. And that means that they are going to have a harder time pulling away from him, even if they do get past him. So I see him getting some points in some of the races. Like, I think Norswing's probably not going to be good for him because there's basically no brake wear at Norswing. But some of the courses with the longer straightaways, I think
He'll do
he's
good
probably
on.
going to have some interesting results. Like maybe some of the courses with the very fast sweepers and so forth. Like, that might be good for this car. All right.
Yeah, you don't want any heavy cornering.
No.
No, but it has a lot of power, and if that's what the limiting factor is, then he's going to be.
The next one we can be very critical of. I think we need to tear it apart. I'm very concerned about this guy, and you know.
Here is a pretty bad fellow, you know. Been to war,
I've
killed
met him.
people.
He's not the sort of man you want to meet in a dark alley. You know?
No, not at all. With a god-awful looking
Jesus,
car.
man. That's just compared to the last car. That is just fugly.
Let me. Okay, I can't see the screen. So let me just go ahead and confirm. It is Jim Jeff's car that we're looking at, right?
Yes,
Yes,
it's
it
my
is.
car.
I do have to admit that the like
It's
some
ugly.
of the styling
Just say it. It's
decisions-
ugly, man.
The thing's freaking butt ugly.
It's nearly as ugly as me.
I don't know if I would say butt ugly. Like I feel as if this is a different genre of ugly. Like
This is a car that fell off the transporter, landed in the top of the ugly tree, and fell through every single branch on the way down before it impacted with the floor for extra ugliness. It is totally fugly.
I would say that in terms of style, it performs pretty poorly relative to the average air conditioning unit.
Yeah.
Like that's the closest comparison I can find, though.
Well,
The average air conditioning unit.
I think in terms of attractive, and I'll use an Americanism here, there are garbage trucks that you'd far rather be seen driving.
Oh yeah. A
So-
moped. A moped is better.
Yeah, it's if it has a redeeming feature, it's that as you drive down the road, you can be entertained by the people vomiting. As they look at it.
Spontaneous nausea provided by this car.
In Genjeff's defense,
The back's not so bad, actually.
the back is pretty decent.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing I'll say with this car. This is the 4th car I made for the contest. Out of 6. Yes, I made that many. This was an experimental car.
So you just decided, hey, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's not going to be the fastest.
Yeah, I didn't think I was actually going to be submitting it. It turned out to be the fastest car of the 6.
Well,
So, the abortion
that's a
arrived to the
lesson for
race.
although you do have door handles, so I'll give you that.
They're big.
They're present.
An elephant could use those door handles.
Yeah, but
But the elephant wouldn't be able to fit in the car, though.
no.
They look like the. I can hear my good lady wife coming in, and they look to me like the old door handles off of something like a. Oh dear, a Morris Ital. These are really bad British cars.
Okay. So, getting down to the mechanics of this car.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
it.
It's a 0 quality on the body, so no
Yep.
weight reduction there.
0
And-
quality on the rest.
0 quality on the rest. Once again, we pretty much what we've seen in every car so far, which is monocoque steel, front longitudinal, double wishbone. This one's a handmade aluminum as opposed to steel. Have we only seen one steel car so far?
There were 2.
Okay, but most of them have been handmade aluminum.
Yeah.
All right. And
Aluminium.
No quality on the fixtures.
Aluminium. Sorry, I'm saying something there for the English. Aluminium.
And once again, we have dual exhausts on an engine with a single exhaust.
Well, the previous one was a quad exhaust. This is only dual.
Okay. So you're winning by a factor
We
of
can
2.
give it that. Really?
I'll give you that.
Looking at this, what I should have done is instead of going with the grill that actually had the chrome on it, I should have just gone with the open front. So that it would look like the car was just screaming as it drove down the road. I'm ugly!
I am concerned that this car could lead to children being traumatized. Can we move on to the mechanics here, please, Ginger?
Yes,
Because
we'll go
I'm
to the
looking at this,
engine.
I'm beginning to feel ill.
Okay, I'm looking at the engine now. Like the engine looks nice.
I forgot to change the color, but oh well.
There's no grill here. Like the engine looks fine.
Yeah, it's unlike the car, but it is a lovely straight 6. It's going to be beautifully balanced.
Dual overhead cam, 5 valves per cylinder, so lots of airflow through those heads.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
2.413 liters.
Yep.
129 horsepower, all forged. Plus 6 quality on that interior, so that's helping that reliability get up to the 30.
Yeah, it's a good solid engine, that.
Yeah, plus 5 quality on the valves. This
I don't have
there is
valve flow.
literally 0 valve float here, even though it's running a 16. Sorry, is that right?
Yes, that is right.
Why are you running a 16 cam profile?
Because
I see why you didn't expect this to be your fastest car. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Look at the red line.
The
Peak power is at 4,800 RPM.
red line is 5,500. Is this a production car?
Yes.
Oh.
Except it needs work on the body.
Yeah. Okay.
Aesthetic.
So take this engine and put it in a decent looking car.
Yeah.
I think that's what we want.
Yeah, it's the sort of engine you want to
actually,
buy. In fact,
You
if I
have
was building
a very undersquare engine here. 96.9 stroke, 72.7 bore.
Yeah. I usually make a bigger bore than a stroke, but it wouldn't fit.
Oh right, inline sixes.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. That's what brings down
So what he's done is he's reduced the bore diameter, increased the stroke to give him the capacity.
Right, and that's why those conrods are complaining a little bit, because they're moving back and forth like a tenth of a meter.
But look how smooth that is.
Oh, inline sixes are so smooth.
80.2.
Yep, and that low cam profile helps with that too. Let's see.
This was an engine designed to be smooth.
I'm gonna have to look at my cheat sheet, because I don't remember what is optimal at a cam profile that low for ignition timing.
It's only at 50.
50 is reasonable. Like 49 is pretty good at a cam profile of 10. So yeah, 50. That's a reasonable decision. All right.
A bizarre body with a bizarre engine for racing.
Yeah.
No, it's a good balanced working engine that fits the body that it's designed for.
Incredibly rich fuel mixture. 12.7. That's about as rich as you can get in this era without flooding the engine.
Yeah,
so
and that
helps keep the compression up.
Correct. And the other thing is, of course, because he's running with 5 valves, he can afford that sort of mixture level. Because he can get the fuel in there and he can get the exhaust gases out.
And surprisingly, because of the low RPMs, the low cam, it's still relatively efficient.
Yeah. Talking 400, 500, 600 kind of economy numbers. Race tubes. Why do you have reverse flow mufflers?
What happens if I put it on?
Okay. All right. So this is the quietest car as well.
Yeah, it's the quietest car in the race.
You won't hear it. Won't even hear it if you go past it.
Because people won't hear you coming. So if they aren't checking their mirrors all the time, they might get surprised.
Actually, one reason why the exhaust is there is it boosts the economy. By a good deal. It actually got me 1 extra horsepower.
All right then. Yeah, I guess we've seen more than one car that has used the mufflers to fine tune the exhaust constriction. All right. So.
But it's quiet. You run this thing in the test, you barely hear it.
I'm actually running in the test now because I've got my headphones plugged into the computer. Yeah, that is a quiet engine.
It's the sort of engine you can fit to your granny's car, knowing full well that it's not going to upset her too much. But 129 brake horse, it's going to go some in a little car.
It's got gumption there.
Yeah, this is a neat engine, and it's got a good power curve. All right, so moving on to the gearbox. Once again, we got an automatic locker. Plus 7 quality. Let me go ahead and check your gear ratios. Let's see.
Now, looking at the right-hand graph there, you're getting wheel spin up to almost 50 miles an hour.
Yeah. I spin through second gear.
Jeez.
No, that's that's first
Well,
gear actually.
Yeah, right.
You don't shift into second gear until
Until
you're going
80.
over 100 kilometers an hour. You're
Jesus.
0 to 100 in first gear.
Yeah.
That's a very yeah.
It's interesting.
I think if he shortened those gears, he would get a better performance out of it.
Well, I'm limited from the 0 to 100 kilometer an hour acceleration by the tires.
Yeah.
I can get
and
6.8,
by having the gears
but I don't.
this tall, he does have a very nice sort of power curve from 100 kilometers on. It's basically always got 100 horsepower.
Yeah.
At the wheel.
It's smooth power delivery.
Yeah, that smooth engine, smooth power delivery. Except for the automatic locker,
Which can make it fun in corners.
Yes, but otherwise it's very smooth. And he is getting 0 to 107 seconds, which is actually good in this competition. Like
Yes, 0 to 60 in 7 seconds is quick.
yeah,
100
Doing it
kilometers.
and not having to shift at any point.
Yeah, yeah. That you have a truck engine.
Yeah. I put a freight truck engine in
Okay, so
Well, a freight truck gearbox.
with a freight truck gearbox.
Nice engine with a freight truck gearbox.
yeah. All right. So moving on.
Plus 7
165.
quality on the gearbox.
Oh, right. We're back on the sprites. So 165, so you can fit the 11-inch rims on it.
Yeah.
And semi-slicks. You have the standard sort of offset on the rear and not on the front. So, let's see. Brake pads. Once again, you got the sort of standard, very aggressive in the front, very gentle in the rear. Maximum size rotors, and +9 quality. So lots of quality on those brakes.
Still a lot of brake fade.
Still a lot of brake fade, but
But we're looking at a more typical figure there than the last car on braking.
Yeah.
And I think if anybody really, it's quite easy with the way these cars are coming out with the power to weight ratio. It's actually braking that's going to win these races. It's the braking and the cornering where people have got to work to get a good result.
Yeah. Okay. So little bit of brake airflow. Cooling is just about exactly what the engine needs. And only 2 points of quality on the aero. Aero quality. That's a surprising decision to me because aero quality is one of the places where you can get quality cheap.
Yeah. But it wasn't getting me that much time. I was looking for where I could spend the money and get the most time. Not where I could spend money because it was cheap.
Yes. Who is it that said, do not buy what is cheap that you do not want because it would be dear to you? Yeah.
And I wasn't getting that much out of aerodynamics quality.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Donald Trump.
No, it wasn't Donald Trump.
It doesn't sound like the kind of thing Donald Trump would say.
No, it was a joke. It was a humor.
I know. I was just like my first reaction is literalism under almost any circumstance. So almost 227 kilometers per hour. It's geared down a little bit for faster acceleration.
Yeah.
Minus 15. You actually have 0 quality on your lack of entertainment, unlike some people. You know,
Oh, yeah. It's 0 quality. We
Yeah.
get only the finest air fresheners in this car.
Yeah. High tech.
His entertainment consists of 2 furry dice, and they're bloody good ones. Now look at
Look at that bounce on the suspension.
Yeah. I've got a rather meh.
But look at the way those lines, though, all match up, pretty much. So the performance of the suspension is pretty optimal.
This might actually be one of the more comfortable cars to drive.
Yeah.
A 9.7? I don't actually know. I could look at the comfort numbers and come back to you on that.
Yeah, but we haven't looked at comfort, so...
Well,
It's more comfortable than that car earlier, which was about a 6.
Yeah.
Once again, Yeah, this
About
car's
2 degrees of camber, front and rear. So
Mhm.
moderate camber. Tire wear is going to be
an
present.
issue.
But one
There's a-
thing is, because this engine's not operating its fuel efficiency range, racing, obviously, with this setup, it consumes a lot of fuel. And the performance boost I get from the fuel consumption outweighs almost in a 1-to-1 my tire wear.
Yeah. So you're probably going to be setting the most consistent lap times of
Yeah.
anybody in the race. Yeah, I was going to say, you didn't manage to get that kind of right on the red line curve for the steering behavior, so that brings in a little bit of extra tire wear relative to some of the other cars we've seen.
It's got
Six-
really good drivability.
Yeah, good drivability, good average reliability. So this car is also going to be a bit of a tank in terms of handling collisions. You got good grip. 1.2 in the small circle, 1.13 in the large circle. That is toward the upper end.
And my car's lift isn't extreme.
Yeah, pretty decent top speed. Let's see. You want to run the time on the test track for us?
Sure. 2:39:55.
Yeah. So
That's quick.
Yeah.
That is quick.
For a strange engine, that's quick.
But it's
Yeah.
not so much a strange. I don't think it is a strange engine. I think it's an engine that's been
For
built
the
to
contest.
spec. It's been built to the spec for the vehicle, for the Hart chassis. I think it does what it says on the tin. It does. It's a good piece of kit. The car is exactly what it's optimized on. How can one put it? It's optimized on the budget and everything else. It's a good solution. It's just fucking awful to look at. If a customer comes into the showroom and they haven't had some kind of hemorrhage from their eyes looking at it, and they actually drove the car, they would probably quite enjoy it.
Yeah.
right, the car looks a lot better from the interior.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Even at -15.
Yes.
It's the sort of car when they actually park it with the back end showing out in the showroom, so that the customers don't look at the front.
Not until after they buy it.
Yeah.
And then they pull out of the car dealership and everyone dies from a brain hemorrhage.
Yeah, it's Jesus, man. That's
Which reduces. No, actually, that would probably cause bad traffic on the roads.
yeah,
So
dead people,
yeah, that's
yeah.
not a benefit at all. All right.
No, I think we just need to move on now to the last car, really, whatever it is we're going to look at, because I think that's just all right. It's just, oh man, Jed, don't do that again.
I think it is the fastest inline 6, though.
Probably. I know I have an inline 6, but it's kind of god awful. All right. I have no aero. Like, my car is a barn, so it can't get top speed. What's the next car we're looking at?
Lorded.
Lord. Okay.
Is
Lord
he
Red.
here? Is he chatting? Is he in the
Oh
chat?
yes, Lord Red is in chat.
Excellent. Good
Yes.
evening, sir. Actually, do you know what? That looks like a little bit of a DAF. It's got a bit of a DAF thing going on the front there.
Huh.
That's sort of, this is where, of course, because I'm so ancient, I can remember all these cars from the 70s and 80s. And it's got a little bit of a DAF thing going on there. I quite like it. It's got a sort of European
I think
sort
I've
of
heard of that company.
DAF. They used to build. They
yeah.
still build trucks, but they legendary built some very interesting car designs, including a very Amatic gearboxed car.
Yeah.
Small variant. But this is all nice. Yeah, I like it.
Very
like it.
curvy little design on this small coupe. I think that this is the same body I'm using, and it costs a bit in terms of aero, but it is a cute looking car. I do like it.
Once again, being colorblind, maybe I see things others don't, but I like the color.
Yeah, it's a nice blue.
Like a sky bluish?
Yeah, to me, it's got a little bit of pink in it as well, sort of violet-y color, but violet. But I like it.
I think
if
it's a
somebody-
little bit. I think it's a little bit darker than a sky blue, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's that kind of blue. It's nice.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and crack open the.
Yep. Minus 15 body.
Okay, so it's a very lightweight, thin panels there.
Yep, with handmade aluminum.
Okay, so this is probably one of the lightest bodies you can make on this kind of design.
And +1 quality on the fixtures.
Okay, that'll make up a little bit of the reliability. And let's.
The doors won't fall off, basically.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's an inline 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
This
now you
is.
see, I'm feeling real
Wait.
nostalgia here myself on this, because I had a Ford Escort Mexico rally car which had an inline 4 engine, although that was push rod, of course, but it used to go like the clappers. And this one's a lot bigger. That was a 1600 GT. This
Right.
one's 2471, but it just has that same look about it, and I like
Is this
it.
the second biggest engine we've looked at so far?
Yeah, it's bigger than my engine. Barely.
Okay. So, all right, we got ourselves an inline 4, 5 hours per cylinder, dual overhead camshaft. So,
Big
lot
bore, big
of
stroke compared to
very
everything
big
else.
bore relative to the stroke. So that makes sense for the DOHC. Valve float is the limiting factor. +5 on the forged internals. So bottom end is rock solid. It's
He
the
still
top
has
end.
like the highest engine reliability we've seen.
Well, yeah, 38.
Yeah, 38 is pretty close to the record for the entire competition.
Yeah.
This engine is probably not going to fail in any of the races this year. Oh, I see the issue with the valves. He didn't put any money into the top end. It's just 63 on the cam profile and 0 quality. So he does have that valve float going on there.
Yeah, probably if he got that, he'd have an even higher reliability. Although, look at the smoothness, man. Compare that to Genjev's straight 6 at 18.
Yeah.
He's at 39.1. That's
Yeah, inline 4s are not terrifically smooth. Like, I think, I don't know, but I'm guessing a flat plane V8 would still be smoother. Like, yeah, so this is a bit of a rattler, but
it's gonna do the job, man.
It
Yeah.
warns you when it's about to bite.
yeah.
Yeah.
It rattles.
All right.
Cool.
Bad
yeah,
joke.
So there's a little bit of potential for extra power if he increased the red line, but he's got enough valve float already, and it's probably going to cost fuel economy if he revs it up any higher. So
Wow, that doesn't actually cost reliability though.
I got a 10th on my screen.
Yeah, a 10th, that's it.
Yeah.
With that much valve flow, I would have thought it would be higher.
Well, I guess the valves are already going to fail or not.
Yeah.
So pushing it farther doesn't actually make it much worse.
And to be honest, it doesn't need it.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't need it, and that's good.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. At what did we say was a 63?
Yeah. And you see we've got another guy here with exhaust.
Yeah. Pretty reasonable cam profile. For ignition timing for the cam profile, I mean. And yeah, we got another car with exhausts on it. Yeah, it does have a little bit of airflow restriction, so those exhausts probably help calibrate that. I see long tubes instead of race tubes. Saves some weight, saves material, saves a ton of production units. All right, so this is a very reliable inline 4. And trim. Again, did the intelligent thing, got an automatic locker. +8 quality. And very, right, because this is the small coupe body. It really does not have top speed, so
No.
it's just geared down. Like, uh,
I personally would gear this a lot longer.
yeah,
Just
I think
looking.
I would push up the spacing on this, give it a longer first gear, make it taller. Um, let's see.
He's got a lot of wheel spin.
He could get more top speed from a longer gear, and yeah, oh wow, he really is spinning in second.
Yeah, look at that lump. She really goes in second.
And third.
No,
Yeah, she gets
no,
it to
no,
spin in third.
no. He's not spinning. Look, you got the from 0 to about 30 kilometers an hour is the engine is over revving and like burning out the clutch, and then it clutch catches and it's spinning in first until you shift up, and then you think you have grip, and then you don't in second.
Yeah.
And then you shift up into third, and you've actually got grip. But yeah.
Oh yeah, he is burning that clutch.
Yeah, that's just.
And that's second, then that's third, then why does fourth exist?
Because he actually gets to that top speed.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Look
at
that.
that.
I wouldn't have gone with this decision. I would have done something about this oversteer here. Like,
you're in the next thing? He's got +8 quality on the transmission.
Yeah, +8 quality on the transmissions. Good choice. I'm just looking at the tires, though.
Yeah.
Semi-slicks. Actually, that wheel spin is going to cost him with the tires as well, because that's going to burn out those rear tires.
Oof, you're telling me.
Yeah. Let's see. 13-inch rims, 175s. So, pretty low brake fade, actually. Only -6.9. And he's actually running 100% brake pad on both front and rear, which I think we agreed that was kind of an iffy decision. Like, you could get free drivability with 0 cost to braking distance just by dropping the rear pad type to 60. And really, you would lose millimeters in braking if you dropped it.
Or inches.
But look at his braking. It is sub 6 seconds, and it's the first car we've seen sub 6 seconds.
Well, that's because it's going so slowly. It doesn't make 200 kilometers an hour.
No.
So it's braking from a lower speed. That's why it can brake. If you look at
and
the
that's
braking
all down
distance,
to be honest, the problems for this car all lie with that gearbox and transmission. And that's something that really I think he needs to look at.
No. See, I understand exactly what's happening here. This car, like I said, this particular body is a barn. It has so much aero drag that you can't get any top speed out of it. So he's doing the best he can, and the best he can is going to be sub 200.
He's saying in chat the car uses only third and fourth gear.
That honestly, I would rather have. I mean, it's going to be using second gear in the low speed corners, and like I think it's better to have the extra gears just so that you can get more of that power down onto the road. But I don't know. I didn't design the car. I don't get to decide.
No, everybody has their own way of doing things, and I think Lord Red's got some ideas, and I love that engine. By the way, Lord Red, it was really good. I like that engine. It's made me. I've had a massive attack of nostalgia on that one.
And it's certainly better looking than the previous car.
Oh, absolutely. This is. It's not my favorite car. Like, I still really like that. Who is the second one we were looking at?
Yeah, that was nice.
Rob the Fiend?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, it looks good. And, plus 10 quality on the brakes. So it's got a lot of stopping. It doesn't. But
he didn't use the safety trick. Oh, we're still back on the brakes. Never mind, I got ahead.
Oh, it's fine. I had 11.7 kilograms per second of airflow to those brakes. He's got sufficient cooling, so he's keeping all of that reliability in his engine. and +9 quality on the airflow, so that helps a bit with this drag problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were talking about, yeah, no safety trick, just basic -15. He's got that bench seat in the car, and you're like, I hope, like, I hope you're okay with sitting on hard metal all day.
Well, they're only
I'll
sitting
be
on it
honest-
for an hour.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, and
Oh
you
yeah.
could- I mean,
Yeah.
to be frankly honest, a bench seat's good. I mean, it could be the opposite. It could just be really springy.
You could be standing. You could be squatting there.
You
That
could
would
be
suck.
That would be very difficult to operate the pedals.
Yeah.
No,
Anyway.
you could be using an old plastic garden chair, but this is the 1950s.
So it would be an old wooden garden chair or wicker.
Yeah,
Wicker garden chair.
Wicker
Yeah.
chair.
What
Fantastic.
the suspension is so weird. Look at the curve for the front wheel. I don't know. I don't understand what's happening here.
How does it do that?
I don't know. Like, I think the suspension settings are not good for cornering, but like,
It's
this is-
chaos. Look at that graph. It's just all over the shop. The body roll is
3 degrees,
not,
which
not
is
by the wheel roll, which it all needs to sort of. I have this imagination that the closer all they are together, the better. The car's more in tune and in balance with itself, and clearly that is not the case here. Although looking at the round there, the wheel roll. The rear, yeah, parts of it are. It's just the body roll and the body FR. What's that?
It
The
doesn't zoom out. Wheel front, body front. Wheel
Yeah.
rear, body rear.
all right, yeah, the body front and body rear do sort of no. The wheel rear and front, the wheel front and wheel rear actually have a pretty close performance on each other. There's just a little bit of a sort of
there's the weird kind of angle thing on my screen. I don't.
actually that.
Yeah, there's
I
that
think-
weird kink.
Yeah, there. But the really strange part here is the fact that body is going to twist. It's twisting backwards and forwards, so the car's flexing.
Oh, it's
Probably-
rocking front to back.
Yeah.
Instead of side to side, it's rocking front to back.
Yeah.
Or
So
it's
interesting
yeah.
camber settings. -2.6 in the front, -1.4 in the rear. So that's probably part of the reason why it oversteers is just it. -1.5 would have given it the understeer, but that's not what he went with. Pretty
There's
low
something-
ride height, but very stiff springs, so no bottoming.
Yeah, no bottom out.
He actually
Not the
has
not the stiffest springs.
not the stiffest springs, but you know, he actually has decent cornering. Well, okay, he's got cornering at all. 1.11, 1.07. So the car will turn.
It'll turn, yeah.
A very slow acceleration, 80 to 120, 4.1. So it's
Seeing as like the standard time we've been getting for 80 to 120 is 3.7.
yeah. So
And
that is going
once
to
again,
be,
I'm not going to sound like I'm harking on a record here, but the problem with this car completely, and it's been a good car most of the way around here, is that gearbox. I think the gear ratios really are something that could be looked at. I think would improve this car substantially.
I certainly would have pushed up that second gear until it had no spin in second gear at the very least. But yeah, I'm not super happy with it, but you know, it is.
There are design choices, and clearly he had to make some design choices, and I think that would be my choice. You know,
The low. It actually has very little lift compared to the other
there
cars
is
we've
none.
seen.
yeah, there isn't almost
It's
none.
17, 16
That's
kilos.
gonna aid cornering.
Yeah, I mean, the cornering drops off a lot less than a lot of the cars, going from the small circle to the big circle. Oh, Lord Red is saying in the chat it was faster with the oversteer.
Yeah,
So
slight oversteer is probably quite good.
so I guess
Depending on the configuration, it will be, yeah.
so. Yeah, interesting setup.
And
Only 58.2 on the car reliability, but the engine.
He's not going to break down.
He's not going to break down, but he might have some trouble in a collision.
Yeah.
But
Unless the simulation equation decides to be funny again, where the least reliable car never broke down, but the most reliable car in the race did.
Well, that's probability.
Yeah, I don't understand.
RNG.
Yep. Okay.
But then you look at this 2.46 for the speed, or 2 minutes 46 seconds, and then that's in the middle of the range. You can't. This car is going to be solid, reliable, dependable. It's going to get round.
Yeah.
And that's good.
I think really the reason for that 246, besides the transmission, besides the gearing choice, is the top speed, because the car cannot reach 200 kilometers an hour.
No, that's a limitation on the body.
At 199, almost. And yeah, that's going to cost in a lot of the courses. So, yeah, I mean, if you look at the aerodynamic efficiency number, the effective frontal profile, Rob the Fiend sort of a fastback coupe was in the sort of 0.6-ish. The little not Sprite is like a 0.4-ish, and this is a 0.8-ish. So this car has to move a whole lot of air that the other cars don't have to move, and that's really what slows it down. So we'll see how it does in the race.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to do badly. It's going to do okay. I think it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I just love that engine. I want it in my. I don't want it in my Jag, but I'd certainly think about putting it in some of my other cars. I think it's got that, And I like the look of the car as well. I think it's got a good look. So.
Yeah, I do like that body. Just from an aesthetic perspective,
looks nice.
I think it's a very nice body.
Yeah, if you pulled up at home in 1955 driving that, people would wonder where the gull wings and stuff were on it. But, as a 60s car, it looks really good. 60s and 70s, it looks brilliant.
It's a mini car.
Yeah.
2-door sedan.
Yeah, it's got. If do you know what? Dare I say it has a bit of the Ford Escort about it, or the Vauxhall Viva, but because it's a bit longer than the little DAF that I mentioned earlier. So yeah, I think it's a solid car.
I see. I guess just one last comment. I think the designers stretched out the tail to get that extra weight distribution toward the rear, get that 60-40 weight distribution. So very short front, very long tail on this car.
Yeah. Gives it more boot space.
It does give it more boot space. Although, I don't know what you put in there, because I guess you could put a spare tire in there, but you don't really need anything else, because that engine is not going to break.
No, but I think the other key thing you're going to do is, particularly if during the race, it's not going well, you can at least pop to the shops, pick up some shopping and come back, knowing full well you're not going to pack up on the way and you're still going to get there. Where other people have crashed by the roadside, broken engines, you've done your weekly shop, which will fit in the boot nicely, and still come back and get a reasonably good turn in the race. So, no, I wouldn't knock this car at all.
Yeah, actually, the crew probably saves a whole bunch of money by just, tossing all the stuff in the trunk and just, instead of having, a big truck that they tow the car to the race in, they just drive it there.
Yeah, it's got that, like I said, it's got that look about it that your dad would own it. It's solid.
Of course, now there's a bunch of people going, "Yay, my dad would own it."
Yeah, but you see, because I'm a dad, I'm a man of taste. You see me dance, guys. But these are other things,
Yeah, I'm comparing this to some of the cars my parents have owned, and yeah, I could totally see them buying this car.
I can't see my dad buying this.
What sort of car does your dad drive there, Ginger? Just
Well, you saw it was that Honda, but that wasn't what he wanted to buy. I don't think.
is he a bit more of a Jag man himself? I have that feeling.
No. Think Lincoln Town Car.
Well, that's what my Jaguar is.
Oh.
Which is the chassis
Well,
and
an
subframe
American car,
are the
not
Lincoln.
British.
My Jaguar was owned by Ford. Jaguar was owned by Ford when my car was built. And the underlying chassis and pan is a Lincoln Town car with a Jaguar body on the top. So it's got British styling with an American chassis, which does have some issues, it has to be said, but that's another story. But they've all been fixed.
My
Right.
dad had this big old car. Think of like the Pax Americana, just not as high quality. The thing was huge.
See, I mean, it's probably a bit of the sort of Americana that I do like are those big cars, big American cars, where you've got like a 6-litre engine developing no power at all because the fuel quality is awful. But the thing is so smooth and it just wallows along in absolute luxury. You know, there's just nothing there. You know,
The kind of thing you could put a giant pasta salad bowl on the top of the car and drive for 2 miles, and then only have it come off when a gust of wind hits you in front of the police station.
yeah.
So that happened to my dad.
Huh.
Because he wasn't thinking he had this ceramic bowl full of pasta salad on the top of the car. And he got in and started driving. I was in it. And we're driving along, and we get in front of the police station. We hear crash. Right in front of the state police. This thing came off the back of the car in a wind gust and shattered all over the road.
Oh dear.
God, that's not good, really.
That is embarrassing
No,
story.
but it's a testament to the car that it stayed there for that long. 'Cause it was, he put it on the
those
car.
Cars are designed to iron out absolutely everything.
Yeah,
And who needs cornering?
yeah. He put it on the car.
Come to
We
Europe.
drove down the dirt driveway, hit the bump to get on the paved road, stopped at an intersection, a stop sign, then accelerated back up to the speed limit, went over a hill, and then, once we hit that straightaway in front of the police station, then it comes off.
Yeah.
That was a smooth car.
Yeah. Okay. So, it's
Yeah,
we got 4 more cars left.
Yeah,
I
I'm probably
don't
going to
know,
call it. I'm going to
actually,
call it a
because
night,
I-
guys, here because basically it's midnight, and I'm doing a 5-kilometer run in the morning.
good
So,
luck.
yeah, I do it every weekend. I take part in a race every
Oh,
weekend.
cool. Okay. All right.
So
Well,
I,
have a good time.
I'm not very fit. I come in the bottom 3/4 of the group, but I'm okay for my age. I'm in the good quarter for my age. I'll never be an athlete. I'm an ex prop forward rugby player, so I'm not exactly built for speed. But keeps me fit these days, and cutting out the coffee, and I'm feeling really good.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Dun, dun.
No.